Welcome, everyone, to episode 137 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, well, Tom, is besieging worth our time?
Always. But will this game be?
Fair enough. Fair enough. As we are going to be talking about Besiege by Spiderling Studios. This game came out 2 different release times. On PC, February of 2020, and on consoles, February of 2022.
2 years later.
2 years later, in that Frenchman's accent and SpongeBob. But anyway, this game was 2.74 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
Well, it is a slightly different game on the console, so it should not be too surprising that it is 2.4 gigabytes.
Wow.
Yes. Some of those features that you have that I don't have.
Features. Features of a game that we need to find out what kind of game it is.
I think it's still the same kind of game. And that game that I have written here is a physics strategy game.
Okay. Yeah. I wrote physics-based destruction simulator.
Yes.
Because you're wreaking havoc on most of your objectives here. But what about that game loop?
So I have build increasingly complex siege engines to complete increasingly difficult objectives.
Ooh, okay. I didn't put the difficulty part of it, but I just put build things to complete objectives, which generally means destroying what's in your path.
Yes, it's kill or be killed.
Yes, that is a fact. Now, what was so killer about this game? What do we like?
I thought, at least at first on the console, the controls were pretty simple and straightforward.
Oh.
And my expectation was that this was going to be a really, really difficult. But it wasn't too bad, honestly. So seems like they did a pretty decent job of moving the game over to console from PC.
Nice. Okay, cool. I thought for a game that was on PC first, it controlled pretty well. The camera could be a little unwieldy. I don't know what it was. I think I'm just used to playing a particular game right now. I'm so used to its controls, Baldur's Gate 3. But anyway, that I'm
completely different game, Chris.
I know, but I'm still playing on mouse and keyboard. But anyway, that's besides. I just thought that it was a little unwieldy, but then, obviously because it's a PC, I can tweak all the settings all I want. So I'm not going to really make that a dislike here. But I gotta say, this game looks pretty cool for what it is. It's like it's got kind of like this polished look in a way, but almost like you're playing with blocks or something, because like you've got like your little play space, and then you've got just a white or almost like a sterile background around it. Yeah. And there's just, I don't know, there's something kind of neat about that.
Yeah, I think it was very simple, but it totally serves the type of game that this is.
Yeah.
And that's important. Sometimes your art direction and the game mechanics don't line up. I think this is a game where they do.
Yeah, it keeps you very focused on what you need to do.
I also wrote down that the like you mentioned, the options menu lets you tailor the controls and the game to your liking. You can turn down and up and down a bunch of different settings, which makes sense because it was a PC game first.
Yeah.
So all those options, translate over to the console as well. So hooray.
Cool. Good on them. Good on them for doing that. What else did you like?
I have, and I think it's an important note because of the kind of game that it is. You have the freedom to solve problems your own way.
Yeah.
The game gives you a minimal set of mandatory steps in terms of a tutorial, but basically it's like knock down this castle. And it's like, okay, well, how do I want to do that? And that's left to you to decide.
Yeah, I second that. It was the incredible amount of possibilities in building. Like, I thought I was going to be kind of shepherded into this experience a bit, but that was not the case. And there is just literally, you have basically your tool set, and it is completely open for you to use however which way you want to. And in a way, it reminded me of, and I didn't really play the game that much, but Tears of the Kingdom, and kind of the creativity that you could use to complete set objectives. So yeah, that was kind of neat.
Yeah, any game where you have the ability to build contraptions that you with moving parts.
Yeah.
All right, it's going to lead to emergent properties.
Right. Absolutely. And I mean, the physics themselves I thought was pretty impressive, all things considered. You know, if you built something poorly, the game will tell you immediately as like things will snap off or go on fire if you hit the wrong thing, touch some flames and stuff like that. So it was definitely interesting to see that. And I also got to say the humor in this game, a little dark, but kind of funny because as you're like mowing down sheep or potential soldiers and stuff like that, it was you're like, ooh, I kind of feel bad, but it was kind of funny at the same time
as they kind of like pop into red mist.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So yeah, any others here that you'd like to talk about, Tom?
I did not have a very wide set of likes here. Do you have any others?
I will say the one last thing was that feeling, that kind of like that aha moments at times when you figure out how you can achieve said things. Like, so as you're putting things together, you're trying out different things because, like you said, they just literally kind of plop you in and say, here's what we need to do. Cool. But I'm kind of a dum-dum. So like a lot of times it takes me a while to figure things out. But when I did, I was like, oh, that's how you can put these things together, make this work. And I was like, cool. That was kind of neat too. And again, the kind of amount of control, because you can control individual parts.
Yes.
So it was pretty impressive, I will say. But from impressive, let's go to unimpressive things. And let's go to the dislikes.
I will say something that we were touching on a little bit as a like, but I think also doubles as a dislike here.
Yeah.
Is that you're dropped into the game without really any kind of explanation.
No.
There are some tool tips that can be quite good in direction, but it feels like there are missing ones. Like they give you step A and then step B and then step D. And you're like, wait, but where was C? Like, and it takes you a while to get that aha moment sometimes.
Absolutely. I agree. I think I am in so much agreement. This gave me Astroneer's kind of PTSD again, because the problem with Astroneer was that it had like verbal diarrhea, but it was like none of that really helped me in what I was trying to do. Whereas this was very minimalistic.
Yeah.
And to your point, it'd be like skipping steps, and you're like, okay, now what do I do? Like it was just kind of like the game does want you to play. It's like they want you to play like it's a bunch of blocks that are in your toy chest or whatever it is. But if you're going to give me a tutorial, like finish the tutorial.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that was definitely frustrating.
100%.
Yeah. And this is a challenging game because if you don't really understand the laws of physics, like I apparently don't, there are going to be times where you're just going to try things and it's like, why is this not working? Why is my car not steering properly?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you need these types of widgets and gadgets or whatever to be attached to it. And like, why is my car like not being able to lift this thing? It's like, well, it doesn't have enough weight or enough mass by itself. It's like so many things that you have to take into consideration that is just very challenging. Very challenging.
Yeah. I put it also that it can be very challenging. And there's the ability to cheat, but if you cheat, it stops your ability to progress through the levels.
That's right. Yep. There is a God mode but it very much tells you can't progress the game if you use it. I'm like, come on, man. There's got to be like a Dumbo mode or something like that where I can
where's the I've died too many times as Mario. Here's my power up to run through this level.
Exactly.
We've been spoiled.
Definitely been spoiled. This game does not have accessibility options in that sense. But I don't know. What else did you not like about this game, Tom?
So I had this problem where I would hit B to step back from whatever I just did. Okay. But instead of stepping back from whatever I just did, it would remove a piece, like whatever piece I was hovering over. So it was not like you were saying about playing Baldur's Gate and then playing this, like like the controls on the Xbox, you kind of feel like certain controls should always kind of do the same thing, which is like A to confirm, B to cancel kind of thing.
Right.
And that's not what happens here. So I was accidentally removing pieces and then having to actually click the undo button, which was maybe right bumper or something. So that was frustrating. It's frustrating when what you want to do and what you press are two different things.
Yeah, that's fair. It's just training the mind to unremember things, but it is unfortunate. But yeah, like the thing is, like an open world game, this game made me have the same feeling of infinite possibilities. I'm infinitely overwhelmed. So like it was just like a lot of times, like, how do I beat this thing? Near the end of my gameplay, I was like, oh, you know what? Let me try to make like a catapult or a trebuchet or something like that. I was like, how do I do that? I have no idea. I was like looking up images of how to build a trebuchet.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how to build this thing. So
yes, and it definitely early on, or maybe even within the first few stages, it'll give you objectives like knock down this castle with bombs.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, the obvious solution is to toss a bomb over there.
Right.
But the game does not explain to you how to launch or toss bombs.
Yep.
Moreover, there's a thing called a bomb holder.
Yep.
And I tried to place bombs in the bomb holder. And for some reason, I couldn't get them to hold the bombs.
Oh.
You know,
what
maybe
did it do? Just like roll off or something?
It just wouldn't let me place the bomb in the bomb holder.
Interesting.
So, and I know that like you can place items and then they drop, you know, because what would happen when I was like, oh, I just, you know, put some bombs over here and then I'll, you know, walk them over there. But since your cart starts off over the, you know, a little bit lofted, when the level starts and your vehicle drops, it dropped, the bomb dropped, my vehicle blew up. I was like, oh, that's not going to work.
There is, I don't know if there's, I mean, it should be the option on the console too, where you can start it on the ground.
Yes.
So.
And that was the beginning of my solution.
That was your aha moment right there.
I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to, if every time it drops, I blow up, that's not going to work. So, right. Start on the ground. Didn't figure out how to toss the bombs. And so I was like, you know what? I can 100% suicide with them though. I can just push this bomb into the castle. And that worked. Once I figured that out, it's just like use a plow, drop a bomb at the, you know, and soccer ball it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, now I'm thinking about, you could probably just use like a piston or something to push it.
Presumably. I also want to point out that at least in my playthrough, the game was like really, really quiet. Like the music is there, but it's totally forgettable.
Yeah.
And then the sound effects, I don't know. It just to me, it sounded like almost nothing. Like I don't have any.
Yeah, I don't know if they like catered it to headphones or something like that, because I was hearing basically like, you know, like the massage room kind of music in the background.
Okay.
It was just kind of, you know, very chill vibes kind of thing, and then of course the crunching of, you know, running over bodies and stuff like that, explosions. So it was decently loud from what I was playing, but I don't know if it's like if they didn't tune it properly for like TV speakers.
Yeah, it could be that, and it could also be that the music doesn't change, if I remember correctly.
No.
So it definitely feels like the kind of thing where while you're in construction mode, play the smooth jazz mellow music. I'm in thinking mode. Yeah, and it's like, okay, when the action starts, the music should change. It should be like, oh, now you're blowing stuff up. Now it should be, you know, something that matches that, and not just elevator music while I'm, you know, mowing down people and blowing up castles.
I mean, because apparently mowing down people is a very Zen thing. I don't know what the message is here, but that's that. But are we good here? Are we going to go to our other thoughts?
I'm full up.
Okay. Well, I will say this game does have Xbox Cloud saves, and you can play up to 8 players online and local in this game.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know how that works, but you can play up to 8 people locally.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. If everyone is got their engineering degree, then sure. It's an engineering person's grand old time. What about you, Tom? What other thoughts you got here?
Okay, well, so I mentioned earlier that the console game and the PC game are different in their feature set. The console version does not have multiplayer.
Oh.
Nor does it have the level editor that the PC has.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I mean, that accounts for some of that 0.34 gigabytes, right?
Yeah.
That said, as you mentioned about that engineering degree, the PC online community hosts unofficial BattleBots tournaments using this game as their platform, which is pretty nuts if you want to go look into it.
It's kind of neat.
This game is the only one developed by Spiderling Studios, at least as of time of this recording. So And I want to point out that the workshop, which I found in the console version, and I'm sure exists in the PC version, allows you to download and use other people's created content.
Oh, wow.
Which means when you can't figure it out, you can download somebody's tank and use that instead.
That's awesome. That's cool. That's good to know. That is good to know.
Yes. So if you get frustrated, you just go, forget it. Somebody else built a wedge.
And that won't be considered
it's not cheating because it's
created by someone
created legitimately. What's cheating is like picking up the bombs with the mouse and throwing them yourself.
Okay, that's fair.
Which honestly is hard to do. I was like, forget it. I'm just going to try this. And it was not easy. So
what a shame. What a shame. But we do need to get to our final thoughts, though, don't we, Tom?
Yes. But before we do that, Chris,
we got to thank our sponsor, cdkeys.com, for helping us support the show. And you can help support the show by clicking on that lovely link from cdkeys.com and, checking out all the great stuff that they have over there. They've got console games, they got PC games, Xbox Game Pass. I think every once in a while, maybe some PlayStation goodness there too. But check it all out. Up to 90% off of games. And cdkeys.com. Thanks so much for the support. And now let's get into our final decisions, Tom. So, Tom, is this a game that we do want to throw bombs at or save from the hurling?
From the bombs. So this game, and I use the word game in quotation marks, I think it has a lot of potential. And it's clear that, from learning that this online community does these BattleBots things, that potential is being realized by some people out there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, as hard as they tried, the controller just isn't a good way to interact with a construction game. It just isn't. This is something where you want to be able to mouse and move around and have a bunch of buttons to do different things.
Yep.
So I ended up being more frustrated than having fun. So I would say if you're going to play this, play it on the PC. I think you'd have a much better time. Now, moving on to Chris, who played it on the PC. What do you think, Chris?
Tom, this game had given me flashbacks of how terrible I was in physics and in engineering way back in our RPI days of that physics class. I'm getting horrible flashbacks. This game is not for me, but I will say, like you mentioned, this game does have a lot of potential. It's very cool for people that love to build and create stuff and then watch those things go run rampant on whatever task that it has to do. Because there's like all this other stuff. Like we didn't even really touch on like the automation stuff that you could do and like sensors and like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy what you can do in this game. So again, it's not for me. It might not be for Tom, but it might be for you because it's kind of an interesting take on that kind of building mechanic or whatever. But so yeah, that's my thoughts. That's your thoughts, Tom. And let us know what you think of this game. Follow us and say hello on Twitter at TC1H1D or shoot us an email at TC1H1D@outlook.com. I mean, hey, there's going to be a question up on Spotify if you're listening on there. So, try to answer those questions for us and we'll try to read them and respond to them too. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, send us a comment down below. Maybe we'll try to respond to those too. And we are on Twitch. We do our streams there at twitch.tv/1H1D. So if you want to stop in, say hello, that'd be cool too. And 1H1D is part of that QTV network. So if you like any great gaming content, check all that out at quitthebill.com/network. Yeah. So Tom, now we need to know what's going to be our palate cleanser. What is our next game?
What are we doing that hopefully isn't building stuff? And
we're about to find out as the surprise button is going to tell us. Here we go.
There are lots of games on Game Pass. So.
Indeed. And the next game is going to be My Time at, I believe, Porsche, not the car company.
I believe the game is just called My Time at Porsche.
Yeah, My Time at Porsche. That is the name of the game, not something I did.
Yeah, because Chris dropped a whole lot of words there. I don't think that was the actual title of the game.
No. My Time at Porsche is the next game that we're going to be checking out. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.